just wanted to touch on something I'm really passionate about, and that's practicing your craft. And I just thought I'd go through some of the methods that I use to practice, and they don't always involve using edible materials such as cake and modelling chocolate. There's other ways that you can practice your craft and your sculpting skills without having to use expensive products. So one of my favourite things to do, and this is only sort of a fairly new thing that I've done, I have sort of dabbled in ceramics for now about 6 months, and I'm really enjoying it. So what I do is I have a ceramic place here on the Gold Coast called Practising Ceramics, and Brad there, he has a big range of any type of sculpture thing that you need. So my thing, obviously I like doing busts and faces. So I felt like I needed to practice sculpting teeth because I haven't done it for a little while now. I feel like that's sort of an area that I can improve on. So rather than go and make a whole cake and I think also just practicing on a small part can be a bit deceiving as well because you don't have the whole face to look at. So what I do is I go and I got a very basic skull poured in clay, and I get it when it's at the stage called Greenware, where it hasn't been fired yet, so the clay's still soft. So Brad pours my mould for me, and then he'll wrap it in a plastic bag, and then I'll go down and pick it up within a day or so the clay's still really soft. So when I got this skull here, it was really basic. It wasn't even really anatomically correct. So this whole section down here was just it was his mouth was actually open in this. So what I've done is I've just sort of gone and fixed it up into the correct anatomical shape. And you probably would have seen on a lot of my videos and things that this thing is just a lifesaver for me, and I honestly use it every single time I make a cake that is a bust or a face, because this is the sort of thing I just still don't have it in my head, and I think it's always good to have a reference. So I got this at eBay. They're well worth every cent, and I don't even think it was dear. It was about $30, I think. That's that one. So I went and I anatomically fixed his features, his eyes, and then I just walked down there and started to sculpt his teeth. So at the moment it's not finished, and unfortunately I left it about a week. I got busy, left it about a week between sculpting, and now it's quite hard, so I'll have to go in now with some harder tools and try and fix it up. But this is actually a Frankenstein skull here that I'll probably get fired and use it as a plant pot or something weird. So that was just sort of one example of how you can, the clay is quite cheap too. The clay is only about $20 for a massive block. I just use something called paper clay. It is a little bit different to sculpt with, obviously, the modelling chocolate and fondant, but to be honest, if you can sculpt with modelling chocolate and fondant, you can sculpt with clay because it is a lot easier as a medium to use. So you can get in there, make mistakes, erase it out, do it again, and just keep on practicing. Even if you just spend 10 minutes a day practicing on something on this head that you have here. You could even build up a nose, or you could even build in eyes. And because you have something that's anatomically correct, there everything's going to look really good, and you'll just get sort of an eye for where to put things and everything when you do a cake like that. Another thing that you can use, it's probably not my favourite because when you go and buy these styrofoam heads are about $10. You can get them at Riot, Art and Craft, or sometimes some of those cheap shops have them. The thing with these is you have to actually go in and cut out the eye sockets, and I just loathe sculpting with styrofoam. I hate it, so I just try and avoid that. So this is how I sort of got onto this. It's a much easier way, and I think this skull only cost me $12 to get poured. And after you've finished practicing on it too, you could keep it. If you go and get it fired, it costs a couple of dollars to get these fired, and then you can keep them and just see how your work progresses through. So So yeah, that's what I thought I'd share that good little tip. And I know a lot of people say to me when I say to practice, they say it costs too much in product to practice and throw away. So this is sort of a solution to that problem, I guess. So if anybody does do it, send me your pictures. I'd love to have a look. Thank you.